Welcome back to One Comic Book a Day, where we're covering Adventure Comics 130, Superboy Super-Salesman. Another story kind of ruined by the fact that the comics have been getting longer, going more to the 10-page to slightly over, closer to the Superman like 13 to 14 pages than the 7 pages where a lot of these stories work better because there's not a lot of actual storytelling, so just get to the point. And this one would have been much stronger if we had gotten to the point so much faster. In fact, the final third of the story should be the entire story. Even spreading it out a little bit longer would have been much stronger than what we follow, but that wouldn't have worked with the whole idea or concept of Superboy Super-Salesman. You see, a new little like carnival themed ride park area has opened, but it has to close very quickly because all the rides are junk and nearly get people killed if it wasn't for, Superboy, the superhero. Turns out the salesman did not know that they were in fact faulty. His boss is an awful, awful, awful human being, and like most capitalists, just wanted to make a buck, so he was perfectly happy with selling faulty equipment, nearly killing people. And for some reason, this doesn't ring any bells to getting him arrested in some way for selling this awful equipment. I'm pretty sure we had some safety laws at that time. Anyway, you think this should be a story about Superboy, doing something about this, like, rich, awful human being that nearly got a whole bunch of children and other people killed. But no, that is the final third of the story. Instead, it's more about him trying to protect the salesman's job, which is a terrible job that he shouldn't want, but I guess he doesn't have a lot of options to work, so he needs the money he needs in the 1940s. So we got to keep his job. But his boss is pissed at him, so he's forcing him to keep his job by making impossible tasks for him. Yes, it's a Superboy story with 3 tasks. We don't need those 2. All of the tasks leading up to the third and final one, which is getting even with the villain, teaching him a lesson, is just superfluous to the story. Like an impossible task involving selling a refrigerator to an Eskimo. So there's some fun little things, though I think it's more fun mainly because artist Al Winsel is on this comic, and almost every single time I'm like, oh, I really like the Superboy art in this one. It turns out to be Al Winsel. Not only is his lines particularly clean and faces sort of unique and not muddled, he has a lot of fun with sort of big open panels. There's one later I'm going to get to in the final part of the story that I think really is one of the strongest panels in at least the Superboy comics, maybe even in the Superman comics. But he's definitely been one of the better artists all around in this read-through of all the Superman comics. He's not my favorite, but he's doing a pretty good job compared to everything else that feels cramped and everybody looks the same, and sometimes I can't tell what age Clark Kent is supposed to be. But after we get through all of those, we get to the final one, which is selling the boss some junk. So Superboy takes him to the rides he sold and puts them on them. Now, this is a rich guy getting his comeuppance. One of the things I really love to read Superman for, because Superman doesn't put up with how much money you have. His arch villain, though not right now in comics, is going to be a billionaire. So, yeah, he doesn't put up with this. He's also very much a socialist. Like, sometimes it doesn't come up and you get lost in the whole American way thing, but he does not support capitalism at all. He's a reporter who takes down rich people, and he's generally fighting against what rich people create to help people. So, I love Superman. So, yeah, we have a lot of him just throwing on the rides and keeping him safe, but scaring the hell out of him. Sort of classic Superman, where he would put people in dangerous positions until they admitted their guilt. Not as bad as the later ones. It still does feel like he's torturing him, but I support this torture. It's less murdery. And this is where I get to the panel I brought up earlier. It's a panel of him on a roller coaster that's falling to pieces, and it's 2 very large panels that I wish wasn't cut off to make it like 2 separate panels. It should be all one panel. It's a weird decision, and probably more about the time it was made than an actual decision, just thinking that, well, they had to kind of do that. It's such a good panel in all this. I already said it's one of my favorite panels and probably most of what I've read doing the series. And I just wish it was this story, because essentially the first 2 parts are utterly unnecessary. We could have just gotten here and it solves the entire problem. We wasted a lot of time on some superfluous stuff to get like the quota of like 3 things happening. You didn't need the 3 things. It worked better when you didn't feel like you were forced to have to hit 3 things. Once Superboy changes his mind after screwing with him on those broken rides, and in fact those rides being actually fun compared to, the impossible task of selling a refrigerator to an Eskimo, I like the story a whole bunch more. And I'm a little surprised because this comic is written by Batman co-creator Bill Finger, who's generally a little better at building up to things. I will say his Superman comic writing hasn't been as strong as his Batman writing. It's definitely a character he doesn't get as well, seeing he didn't create him. Okay, that is it from Adventure Comics 130. Superboy Super-Salesman. Shouldn't he be Sales Boy? If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon to get notifications when a new video goes up. I do this Monday through Friday, but Fridays is Bat Friday, where I cover a Batman story on the Detective Comics or Batman. And until next time, let's ponder the question, whatever did happen to the boy of tomorrow? And seriously, just go for the guy who's the problem in the beginning. You're just wasting time any other way. This would have solved everything without having to go through just insane things. Okay, have a great day.